our first class on computer networking. So today I will give you a brief introduction. Now the main thing is we already very much familiar with computer networking, correct? Because we are using internet uh, and we are surrounded by internet almost 24 into 7, correct? So this very huge, you can say, communication network, and nowadays it becomes almost wireless, so it becomes very complicated, and obviously it is very important. Now, so first we will try to understand what is the application of a standalone computer. Suppose I have a standalone computer without any internet connection, means without any connection. Suppose there are two different computers. Now first try to understand what are the problems we will face, and why we need this type of networks. So suppose there are two different computers. One is computer A, another is computer B. Okay. Now this computer A is with Windows operating system, and this computer B is with Unix operating system. Now, what are the application of this standalone computer? So, number one application is I want to store data, correct? I am considering that there is no internet, there is no internet, only a single standalone computer. So what are the purpose? What are the use of this computer? Number one, it will be used to store data. Number two, it will be used for, say, multimedia operation. I hope you know multimedia. Multimedia means movie, songs, for those purposes. And sometimes it can be used for, you can say, under multimedia, you can say playing games. And sometimes it is used for, there is a percentage of use for this third category, that is for, you can say, for study. You are using your computer for study. Means study means particularly suppose programming. Okay. Now these are the main application. There may be other application, but these are the main application for a standalone without internet computer. So these are applications. It will use for storing my personal data. It will be used for multimedia applications like listening song, watching movies, and it can be used for study purpose, mainly for programming, because we have to, since we are belongs to this IT or CSE stream, so we have to perform some programming concept. So now if we see the graph, that in this axis, this x-axis, I am representing uh, the days. Days means, suppose on this day, at 0th day, I have bought my computer from that day. So day 1, day 2, day 3, in this way. And in this side, I am representing programming. Means how much programming I am doing. Okay. The graph will be like this. I hope you will agree with me. The graph will be like this. Graph will be like this. What does it mean? It means that on the first day when we bought the computer, we are very excited and we start programming. We want to show our parents that we are very much needed this computer. Without this computer, I am not able to do my study. Programming classes are going on in the college, so I need a computer. I need a laptop. So the use will be like this. On the first few days, the programming, you are doing programming, you are using your computer for study purpose is at peak. But with days move on, the programming practice will be decreased in this way. It happens with me, and I hope it happens with maximum of the students. Now, when suddenly, suppose at this point, suddenly I got my internet connection, then again the use of computer is rising. So you can easily understand from this that a single standalone computer which is used for this purposes are not that much useful after some days. Now, suppose consider a story like this. There are two person A who only know Bengali, and there is another person B who only know, say, Tamil. So I hope you can understand, if they want to communicate with each other, suppose they are traveling through a train, it is a 2 days journey, and they want to communicate, then you can understand how much difficult it is. Whenever a Tamil saying something, the Bengali is thinking that he is giving me some galis, or when Bengali is saying something, Tamil will say, oh, he is supposed to giving me some rough words. Correct? This will happen. Now, so if there are two computers having two different set of operating system, two different set of hardware, they may have different hardwares. This one having say Intel, this one having say Mac. Suppose this one having RAM 5 GB, this one having RAM 10 GB. So you can say these two computers A and B having different software, operating system, and different hardwares. Now the question is how we can communicate and why we need to communicate. That is clear, because a single standalone computer after some days is almost useless. So we need to communicate. And if you think humans are social, so they need to talk with some other person. They need to communicate. Similarly, if we think there are two computers and we want to communicate through these computers, then we need one thing that is called data communication. We need to know data communication, how data can be communicated. Remember, at the early days, the communication is through voice channel, telephone lines. Communication is through voice channels. But the first ever communication or interconnection between two devices through voice channel, it is happened approximately 1959, around this time, 1959. The first communication between two computers where the communication is done through voice line, because so far we have already, Graham Bell already implemented those communication. So the first communication between two computers done through voice channel, and then by how we can do this? By modulation, demodulation, those are the techniques. Then by step, we move towards digital communication, and the first such, so it means there are two computers are connected, and then they decided if I connect another computer, and then they decided if I connect another computer, if each and every computer are connected. So in this way, the development of internetworking or internet, or you can say network. So this is the network. Why it is called network? Because it is creating some net of connected devices where the devices can communicate with each other. So the first internet or first network that is developed by the American military is called ARPANET. So this is just having a full form. I forgot the name, but this is called ARPANET. This is the first network developed for data communication, and it is around 1969. It is around 1969. Okay, so this is a brief history of computer networks. The first computer network ARPANET, then day by day it is developed, and then internet comes, www, World Wide Web, and then the flurries of communication network technologies, 3G, 4G, now the 5G is coming. So this is the starting of the computer communication, or you can say computer network. Now, so the first thing that we have to understand for this communication is how we can communicate data communication. Now see, we already know that a computer only can understand binary concept, binary data, 0 and 1, off, on. The computer only can, electronic device which can only understand binary data. Okay. Now it means if there are two computers and we need to communicate with them, we need some medium. We need some medium to communicate. This medium can be wire or wireless. Correct? How this communication link can be developed? How this medium can be developed? You see, binary data, when we are transmitting binary data, data are not transferable. You cannot transmit data. Data is fixed. Data is stored in a form of 0 and 1. But what thing you can transmit? You can transmit a signal. So the first thing that you have to do, you have to convert your binary data to binary signal. That is the first step. Then that signal can be transmitted through this media. Now, for this media, there is another problem. This media, basically, this type of media can support analog signal. Am I clear? From binary data, the signal you have created, that should be in digital form. Binary data to digital signal, or you can say digital data to digital signal. You have converted. But most of the communication media supports analog signal. Clear? Now it means from this digital signal, you have to convert it into analog signal. Am I clear? Then this analog signal will be transmitted through the channels, and then in the destination end, again you have to convert this analog signal to its corresponding digital signal, correct? And then from this digital signal you have to extract the digital data so that this device, the destination device, can understand the information or data. So these are the transmission or transform of your data that you have to perform through this data communication. Now, when we are doing some data communication from this device to this device, we have to take care few things. We have to consider few things. The number one consideration is delivery of delivery to proper destination. When you are transmitting some information from one device to another device, the delivery must be at the proper destination. It should not happen that you are trying to send the data to X and it reaches to Y. That should not be happening. Okay. Number two, suppose I am transmitting AB, these two letters, and when it is transmitted through the channel to the media, somehow some noise converted it to XY. It means you are transmitting AB. Suppose you want to say someone else sorry. You are transmitting sorry, but it is converted to something, some other things which is not acceptable. Correct? It means accuracy of the data should be maintained. Accuracy of data, that is very important. When you are transmitting data, first thing you have to guarantee that data should reach to the actual or exact destination. Then whatever you are sending, that must be transmitted in its original form, accuracy of data. And the number three, that is also important, timeliness. Means it should be transmitted within proper time. We are sending a data which is not reached to the person when it is required, then it is useless. So these three things you must have to consider. You must have to take care whenever you are sending a data from one device to another device. Correct? Then when you are transmitting this data, so what are the different components? What are the different components we have to consider, we have to take care? Or you can say, what are the components used when we are communicating to devices? The number one component is I am transmitting some data or message. So this is number one component of your data communication. Number two, there must be one sender and there must be one receiver. Correct? When you are sending some message, there must be some sender and there must be some receiver. Then there must be some medium. See, without medium you cannot transmit. So you need some medium. And the last, but not is and the most important, the last and the most important is you must have to follow some rules which are called protocols. I hope you have heard that's HTTP protocol, HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is very important for our internet connection, HTTP. So these are protocols, or sometimes what is the meaning of protocols? Protocols means the rules and regulations for data communication. That's are called protocols. So you must have to follow some rules. Means when you are talking to someone else, if he is suppose he is some aged person, then you should talk with him with some you should talk with him politely. You should not give him some harsh word. So this is the way you can communicate, and you have to follow the rules. Whenever you are going out with your car or bike, you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the traffic rules. So whenever you are transmitting your data, it should go through a medium. You should follow some protocols. So these are the components for a data communication. Components of data communication. Okay. Then comes the network. We have to create some network. Now, what is the purpose of creating a network? Why we are creating network? So, through this data communication, we are able to create a networks like this. Many computers connected through mediums. So, this is the network. Now, what are the purpose of this network? Why we are creating network? The number one purpose is we need to communicate. So communication between different devices, this is very important. Now another thing we need to do when we are connecting one or two computers, we need to share our information. So it means sharing the information. Clear? Then we sometimes need to do some distributed processing. Means one task is divided into different devices. We want to perform a distributed or group processing. So these are the purpose of creating a network. Whenever we are going to create a network, we are actually trying to communicate between different computers. We want to share the information so that they can interchange or exchange their information, and there must be sometimes requirement of distributed processing. Now there is a basic difference between distributed network and computer networks. The distributed networks is generally a means one particular task is distributed between different devices. It means all the devices are acting as a network is acting as a single entity. They are performing a single job. But computer networks means each and individual computer is independent. They are doing their task independently, and now they are connected so that they can communicate, they can share their information. But distributed computer means where a set of computers are connected to perform a particular single job. Perform a particular single job. It means all the computers are dependent. They are dependent with each other. But in computer networks, the computers, single computers are independent entities. Okay. Now, when we have created a network for some purposes, we should have check whether my computer network is performing well or not. So we have to check number one for a computer, we have to check what is the performance of the computer. It means how many computers, means how many users it can support, number of users. Now I have created a network, means uh, say 20 computers, a network of 20 computers. So now we have to means we have to giving the network some criteria that how it is performing with this number of computers. So we have to check how many users, number of users are connected, what are the transmission media we are using. So transmission medium, whether it is wired or wireless. Then you have to check what are the different hardwares it is using. Then you have to check what are the different softwares it is using. So based on these things, number of user, the transmission media, hardware, then software, we can decide how or what is the performance of the network. Okay. Then the number two, after creating a network, same as data communication, we have to check whether it is reliable or not. So you have to check the reliability. Reliability means whether, say, after some failure in a particular link, whether it is able to means recover the failure and then start its communication again. So these are decide whether your network is good or not. So reliability, that is very important. And finally, the most important thing, that is security, whether your network is giving you proper security or not. When you are sending your data must be secure. So these are the things which will decide how your network is performing. These are the things, these are the requirement of a network. Why we need network? To communicate, to share information, to distribute, to perform distributed processing. Then after creating a network, then you have to judge whether my network is good or not. Based on this three things, means the performance based on these things, then its reliability and then its security will decide whether it is working well or not. Okay. And then there comes very important things when we are discussing data communication between two computers. So there are two devices, device A and device B. How they are communicating? So that is called transmission modes. Transmission modes. How? Sorry. How computer A is connecting or sending data to B? Is it in one-way traffic? It means data is always coming from A to B, not B to A. Or both A and B can send data to each other. So this thing decide what is the type of transmission mode. Remember, there are three types of transmission mode. One is called simplex. I hope you know what is simplex. Simplex means it is always one-way traffic. Signal is transmitting to one way only. The example is a simple example of the simplex mode is our keyboard, our mouse. These are one-way transmission. Your data is coming from keyboard to the CPU. Your data is coming from the mouse to CPU. So this is always simplex, one-way communication. There is another way of communication that is called half duplex. Okay, half duplex means the, you can say, it can transmit both way. It can transmit both way, but not at the same time. Simultaneously, they cannot transmit and receive. Half duplex means they can transmit in both way. Data can send from A to B and B to C, but not at the same time. Simultaneously, they cannot transmit and receive both. The example, a perfect example is walkie-talkie. Correct? In case of walkie-talkie, if you see in movies, walkie-talkie, when someone is telling something, after saying over, the receiver can say something. So this is half duplex mode. Data can transmit in both way, from sender to receiver, receiver to sender, but not at the same time, not simultaneously. And there is another mode, obviously, which is duplex mode. Duplex mode means you can transmit your data both way simultaneously, and it is our nowadays uh, mobile or in telephone. So these are the three different transmission modes that we can use when we are communicating between two or more computers. Next, another very interesting thing that we have to remember when we are creating a computer network, what is the line configuration? What is the line configuration? What do you mean by line configuration? Line configuration means, see, and sometimes uh, two devices are directly connected with each other. They are directly connected with each other. Sometimes what happened, the devices are connected to a device through which it is communicating. I hope you can understand the two pictures. In this picture, this device A and B, they are directly connected. But in this configuration, A, B, C, they are not directly connected, but they are connected with a device which will help them to communicate. Okay. Now, this two type of line configuration is supported in any kind of network. The first one, this direct communication, is called point-to-point communication. Okay. And this one is called multi-point communication. I hope you can understand why this is called point-to-point or direct connection, because they have a single link between them to share. But in this multi-point configuration, there is a single device which are shared by all the devices, and they don't have a direct communication. They are connected through a particular device. Normally, this device are called hub or switch. Okay, so these are the two types of line configuration we used in our networks. One is called point-to-point configuration and another is called multi-point configuration. And the next thing, that is, after knowing how we are communicating, how this transmission mode is going on, how they are connected, means what are the line configuration, then the next thing, that is what is the topology. Now, topology means, remember, topology means a physical structure of the network. Structure of the network means how the device is connected. So it can be connected like this. There are many devices which are connected to through a single cable. They are connected with a single cable, or like this, they are connected with a single device. Okay, or like this, each and every device have a connection between them, means they are point-to-point connected. So how looks the physical structure or geographical structure of the network, how they are connected, that is called the topology. There are different topologies. Number one topology, that is the basic, that is called mesh topology. In case of mesh topology, each and every device are connected with other devices. It means it is always point-to-point connection between two devices. See, there is a connection link between these two devices, there is a connection link between these two devices, there is a connection link. Now the problem of this mesh topology having many advantages. What are the advantages? If suppose A is sending some data, B is not receiving, suppose A is sending some data and B is not receiving, since there is a single link, point to point connection between A, B, so it is definite that there is some problem in the link. Logic clear? So you can easily isolate the fault. Fault isolation is very easy in case of mesh topology. But still we are not able to use this mesh topology because is in case of mesh topology, if there are n number of devices, so this is, you can say, a connected graph. Okay, a connected graph. So if there are n number of devices, then we need NC2 number of links.